Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Through the Flames. I am your owner, Miss. I forgot to change my name again, Miss Jess, and I'm here with my co-host, Lisa. Thanks for joining us
Hello.
this week.
Thanks for
Yeah,
having
no, I'm just Jessica. You guys don't need to see like my official like business stuff. It's fine. Um, Gotta love it. Gotta love it. So this week we have been talking a lot about just things that are happening in our life and the world around us because there's always constantly movement, right? And we get downloads from the world that's occurring around us. And I think that's signs from spirit just guiding us on, hey, these are things that people are struggling with. This would be a good topic to talk about. Um, and when I say people, I mean,
That's right.
yours truly. As well as, friends, partners, just people in the universe, right? And I think I have always been a believer that, like in class, that I should ask the questions that come to my mind because there is somebody else in the class that has the same question that doesn't know how to answer or that doesn't know how to ask it or is too afraid to ask it or whatever. And so as that leader my whole life, I am known to ask the questions and say the hard things that nobody else wants to. It makes sense now why I am spiritually gifted.
You're just
So
channeling the
this,
teacher here.
I'm telling you, yeah. Anyway, that's a whole different tangent that we're not going to go down today. We're going to stay on topic. So this week, I thought that we could start off by talking about um, kind of similar to last week, but a little bit different, self-sabotaging when we feel that we're not deserving. The things that we do when we feel like the love that we are being given, or even just the kindness that we are being shown, um, should be saved for somebody else, right? What is that called? Martyrism, martyrdom, when you are a martyr, right? The act of being a martyr. And I think it's something that givers, especially empaths, especially, uh, we get so good at. We get so
Mm.
good at that. The people around us, the people that we love, the people that we care about, they need to be taken care of, even if it's at the expense of my own happiness, my own love, my own life. We have to save them. We have to do everything we can um, to make them happier. And I think it's a really hard topic. So we're gonna start there and kind of talk about that. Um, and then we'll kind of see where this goes and flows. How's that sound?
Sounds very good to me. I'm game. Let's go.
So I will just start with myself. Sometimes I feel a little bit guilty. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Sometimes I feel like, who am I to just make this all my own and share my entire life story every time we're on here? Uh, why do I do that? Why do I make sure to tell all these stories about myself? And then I think about what I just said at the beginning of this podcast, and I'm saying these things because it might resonate with somebody else. Somebody else might identify with it. And that feeling guilty, feeling shame around speaking around myself is an unhealed part of myself that I still need to recognize and heal. However, it's very difficult. And I think that is a form of self sabotage, right? There are times where I don't want to talk about myself or the things that I'm struggling with or anything around me because I feel like I'm taking away the limelight from somebody else. And I think we need to frame it differently and say, yes, I am shining the limelight on myself. However, when I do that, it is saying to others, come sit in the light with me.
Mm.
Don't be afraid of your shadows. Come sit in the light with me. We will cast the shadows and you will see them and learn to appreciate them because they follow you. They're a part of you. Your shadow walks side by side. Wow, I'm getting a download, guys. um, this is so funny because this past week, my son, we've been playing basketball at the basketball court in the evenings, and it's getting dark very quickly. And so walking back to my apartment, there are multiple lights that we pass along the way. And he's learning, like, look at it. Why do I have like three different shadows right now, Mama? And why are they different shades of darkness? And I'm explaining to him, well, it depends on how close you it depends on how close you are to the light. That affects how dark your shadow is.
Is
It
this your
depends
cat?
on how no, 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 no. It depends on this is important. This is a download that I just got. How
Mhm.
close you are to the light determines how dark your shadow is. And so if you feel like dark shadows are drowning you out and overwhelming you and suffocating you, um, it's because shadows are close to you, right? Your shadow is literally like right here when you look down when you're standing in the light. And the
Mhm.
closer you are to the light, the darker your shadow is.
Mm.
That's the impactful thing, right? So if you are feeling overwhelmed by all that darkness, it means that you are that much closer to stepping into the light. And please hear the hope in that, because I know that message was for somebody. Anyway, I've totally lost track of where I was. Bring me back, Lisa. Where was I?
You were talking about uh, going to the basketball court, or before that?
Before that.
That's a very good question. You talked about your own stories and how you out yourself to the world.
Uh yeah, so I don't know where I was going with that, and that's okay. The message was with the shadow, and that's why I started with that. So that's okay. What thoughts are you having so far? Maybe that'll bring me back.
Well, I'm thinking that, I mean, no matter where you are, close to the light or far away from the light, you will always have some sort of shadow, you know.
Mhm.
There will always be something to work on. There are new lessons, new people, new struggles. We're human. So it's not like you're gonna end up standing in the shadow, not having anything to work on. That being said, you can have them with more clarity. And I think that might be where you were coming from, Jess. I don't know. Possibly.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. The closer that you get to the light, the more defined and clear your shadow gets. Whereas the farther you are from the light, the more blurred edges there are, and you're not sure where the light ends and the darkness begins.
mm, that's true. So if we are thinking about one of those shadows, what do you think is the greatest shadow in the start of a divine feminine journey? Because I'm asking you this because when you become or you find out you're a divine feminine, your love change or your perspective of love change, and that will do something with your shadows. So what do you think on that?
Hmm. I mean, I think it definitely, I don't think it's the same for every divine feminine, but I think there are similarities where they are related. And I think it probably has something to do with feelings of worthiness because usually we find out we're a twin. We're a divine feminine, not a twin. I misspoke. Not all divine feminines are twins. We usually find out that we are a divine feminine when we go through a tower moment, when we lose something incredibly close to us and it shakes up and it mirrors to us those shadows that we need to heal to really truly step into that divine feminine role. And it shows that wounded feminine where she is, right?
Mm,
And a wounded feminine, oops, wounded feminine energy. I feel like this is important to do, guys. So wounded feminine energy occurs when a person's authentic feminine qualities like intuition, receptivity, and vulnerability are suppressed or distorted due to past trauma, abuse, neglect, societal conditioning, or unsafe relationships. Manifestations include low self-worth, just saying,
Mm,
I nailed that. Low self-worth, difficulty setting boundaries, people pleasing, emotional numbness, distrust, and a victim mentality. This energy is a result of trauma and is a call to heal and reintegrate one's true self.
mm,
So I think all of those things are all kind of tied together and that they all circle and rotate around who we are at our core and our self and our self-actualization and our self-worth. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
that makes very much sense. And that actually brought me to my chain of thoughts when we were talking about how we self-sabotage in love. Because a lot of that, and we have talked about this a little bit before, but like the inner child and what wounds we grow up with having and how we're getting it, and how we mirror that to the relationships we have as adults and with everyone around us, and how we interpret them and what we think they need for us to be happy. Did that make sense?
Uh-huh. It's people pleasing.
It's people pleasing, but also lack of self-trust. I mean, um,
Intuition.
yeah, intuition. And what happens when your intuition doesn't match your desire? Because you have an ego that keeps wanting to talk. And sometimes, and very often, I at least get that. And I know we talk a lot about this, Jess, is this my ego or is this my intuition? I have actually no idea. And that is some sort of self-sabotage too, because you end up in situations where you need to do or make decisions. Um, and you end up self-sabotaging because you're doing the wrong thing, because you're trusting your ego and thinking it's your intuition.
It's
So,
funny. I a year ago, it was last August, August of 2024. I got a personalized reading done by Blue Moon Intuition. Shout out to you, Liz. Love you. I'll link her in the comments for you guys. And she gave me homework. And
mm,
that homework was, she was like, your guides are trying to communicate with you and they're not able to communicate effectively. Like you're not getting it. And so they want you to journal. They want you to start journaling any times that you have like an intuition, an intuitive thought, right? Like anytime. I don't care if it's, you're showing a house and you think these people are going to put in an offer and they buy it, or I think this light's going to turn green before I get to the intersection, or, anything, right? um, Jot it down if you have an intuitive thought. And she goes, the purpose isn't for you to like, these are all the times I got it right. These are all the times that I got it wrong. The purpose is for you to learn how to trust your intuition and how to start connecting with your intuition, because there will be times that you get it wrong, quote unquote, but it's not whether it's right or wrong. It's that you listen to your intuition in that moment.
mm,
Because sometimes we have to make those wrong choices. Sometimes we've made that decision to make a wrong choice because it leads us to another discovery, or it leads us to another leveling up, right?
yeah,
It
yeah.
leads us to a tower moment. And so we literally, like, I almost feel like life is a game and we have trap doors set up and booby traps, and we have, it's like chutes and ladders. Like behind some doors are chutes and behind some doors are ladders, and sometimes we get to jump forward in the game and sometimes we go, oh, back down we go, right? I don't know, do you have chutes and ladders in Norway?
Probably. I was just thinking, what is that in Norwegian? What? I need
It's
to
the game
figure
where you
that
have
out.
ladders and slides, right? Do you have
Oh,
anything
yeah.
like that? Okay.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We
But
call it the
so
ladder game, but yeah.
okay. But so when we trust that intuition, it doesn't matter if there's a chute or a ladder behind our door because we trusted that what was happening was right for us.
Mhm.
And we know that even if we go down a chute, if we go down a slide, there could be a ladder in the next door that actually puts us further ahead than where we were before.
Mm. I think that is really good advice to write down the things that is coming to you because sometimes you just don't realize where it's coming from, or you're like, okay, that's weird, and you move on. And I can only speak for myself because I'm a little further behind in my journey than you are, Jess. But I ended up staying in like waiting mode rather than living my own path because I was thinking that that was my intuition telling me to wait. But it was really my ego, and I wasn't listening to it. I was just blocking everything out because, it felt so good that waiting should happen because it didn't make sense for anything else. But if I was to write down my intuition, then maybe I would have had a different insight. Oh, you found your notebook bag, which you were told to
So I
get.
finally, yeah, I have been looking for this. I lost it in January. I haven't been able to keep notes in that long. And the last notes that I have are from like, I don't know, a while. A while. But two things popped up when I looked at this. So I had a bunch of notes right here inside that were like, I'm not going to share because they're very private. But like some are like my sign for yes, my sign for no, my sign that I'm on the right path, my sign that I need to change paths,
Hmm.
my sign that I've met my person, right? Things like that. And I thought it was funny because two things happened. Uh, one, August 20th, I wrote, feel like something romantic will happen on Labor Day weekend. And I was single at the time. This was before I met my twin. I met my twin on a dating app 8 days later, and we went out on our first date Labor Day, on Labor Day.
Oh.
Mhm. And then
Look at her getting all red. If you are just listening to this and not watching us, you should definitely watch us right now.
there is just something about my person's race and the letter of their name could possibly start with somebody that I'm seeing now. Their letter. Anyway, that was interesting that I just read that. I
That
kept
may be a
seeing
scream.
I kept seeing 222 show up a lot. It's just like I keep
Two?
seeing 411. Is this a sign for information? Um,
Oh, four. That's
I don't know.
interesting. Okay.
What are you hearing? What are you hearing?
No, I'm not hearing anything. We were just talking about numbers before we started, and there was something about the number four you said earlier, and I was just picking up on that, and it just went through my brain. So that's interesting.
You just want to keep me red in the face. That's all.
I love you, Jess. I love you, Jess.
I love
I love
you.
you, Jess. I had to say it 3 times. Now I'm becoming you too. Hang on, I'm just getting some drink. I'm here.
So, like, the whole point of this is I get to look back now, and it's been over a year, and I get to see all of the notes that I made to myself and see all of the things and go, huh, maybe this was right, or well, that didn't work out, and that's okay too.
Or you suddenly get some information and you look back and you realize you are on the exact path you're supposed to be on. And just keeps telling me something from time to time. I see that you want to see something. I just want to follow my chain of thoughts here. Um, from time to, damn it, now I lost it. From time to time, Jess keeps telling me you cannot mess up what's meant for you. And that is something everyone has to remember. It's like, if you stayed a little long in the waiting game, it doesn't really matter. If you self-sabotage, it doesn't really matter because what is meant for you will come back to you when it's ready. And please manifest that it will come back when it's ready. Please always do that. I did not do that. That didn't work out very well. Jess, what is going on? I'm very curious now.
I found a quote that I had written down that I feel like I need to share.
Mhm.
Kind of long, so bear with me. Darcy, what are you doing? Everybody say hi, Darcy. Uh, all right, here's the quote. Part of the challenge of being a soul is learning to honor your own power. By listening to your inner voice and following its advice, you are acknowledging the perfection of your intuition.
Mhm.
Part of the challenge of being a soul is learning to honor your own power. By listening to your inner voice and following its advice, you are acknowledging the perfection of your intuition.
So,
So,
I wanna ask you something. It was just a question that came to mind that I was thinking, okay, if I didn't know too much about this, this would be a question I have. So, if I were to follow my intuition, what will happen?
what's meant to? Everything happens exactly as it should, exactly as it should. And that's, yes, we have the beauty of free will. And at the end of the day, like it goes back to we've talked, I feel like you are a co-creator in your life path. And I think we get to like wander until we hit these mile markers. But I think along the way, we get to adventure and we get to veer off course and jump off the path entirely. And sometimes that delays when we reach that next mile marker, when we reach that next level. However, we always reach that next level. Even sometimes when we don't want to, sometimes we're like out in the woods doing our own thing, partying it up with the trees and the wildlife. And then all of a sudden somebody comes along and they kidnap you and they're like, no, we are going along to this next town. And before you know it, you are leveling up.
That's beautiful.
Sure. Getting kidnapped is beautiful.
No, but just the level up part is beautiful. And I also keep seeing the snake. I'm getting the snake. For multiple reasons. I pulled the animal spirit card earlier, and I knew it was gonna pop up. But it just feels very right to talk about it in this context because snakes, they shed their skin, right?
I was
So,
literally thinking that. Get out of my head.
so,
Oh my God.
so you have to to let go of all identities, patterns, wounds, right? That is what our journey is all about. And when we shed the skin, it's like, and that's why I said it was beautiful because I heard leveling up when my head was going and I got like this download of this snake and shedding skin. And then I heard like level up and I like, yes, that's beautiful.
You have to
Yep,
level up. It's how you regenerate new skin, right?
exactly.
That's
It's
too
that
funny.
rebirth in action,
I love it.
to be honest. Hmm. I
And
have
I
to
want
show
to
you
point
the
something
cards.
out. Oh, I want to see.
Beautiful
Oh,
cards.
pretty. That is so pretty. Look at the sparkles.
Right? Right?
I love it. I also think it's important to note that literally every single person has both feminine and masculine inside of them. And the traits of a divine feminine and divine masculine, and the traits of an unhealed feminine and unhealed masculine exist in all of us in smaller quantities of those of us that are not divine, right? Um, I think it's important to acknowledge that everybody can have unhealed areas that they need to work on. Um, and I think part of what we're seeing in the world today is we are seeing a large portion of men. I hate gendering, but like stereotypical men born as a man, right? That have unhealed feminine inside of them. And they don't know how to step into that and to heal that and to accept that and acknowledge that. And I think we are starting to see where it is happening, that more men
Hmm.
are stepping into it. And, like we've got men um, going to therapy and getting help to work through these things and doing things that scare them and learning to receive love and learning how to allow somebody else to show up for them and learning how to let their partners take care of them, right?
Hmm.
And I think it's a very scary thing because the world has been predominantly ran by unhealed men.
And it's not so weird that you are gendering like this, even though I agree with you, I don't like doing it. But we're back to like the childhood wounds and how people's upbringing have been like past tense. Because I think we're learning something in these generations to come that at least you have voice. So maybe you can explain more, but I'm a teacher and I know that we're talking way more about feelings and how we work today rather than our generation and past generations that has been run up by you are a boy, you don't cry, you just move along, you don't feel. And that will create some serious wounding when you're not able to like talk or work or or what's the word I'm looking for here, just um when you're not
Communicate,
able to express or communicate your
express.
feelings. Hmm.
I think it's interesting and I hope it's okay that I share this. I'm just gonna do it. It's easier to beg forgiveness. Um, the person that I've been seeing uh did something really beautiful and after we got back from our trip asked me, is there anything you want to share with me? Good, bad, things that you want to see done differently, things that you liked, anything that you want to ask me, and just held space. And I remember I was blown out of the water. I was like, people don't do this. What? What? Why would you? And even today, I'm still shocked by that, right? And I think that talks a lot about the state of men today that I was so surprised by that. And I think that says a huge testament to him. Shout out to him. He knows who he is on the work that he's done to be able to hold that space for me. That's something that's not easy. And it's something that truly comes done from a place of, I know that this person isn't going to say anything that will come from a malicious intent. Um, but it's wild that that's not a thing right now. And I love that it's becoming a thing. I love that it's getting there. That's something that I'm trying to teach my boys. His feelings are okay, and you want to make space for them. And my son is going through a really hard time with some things that are happening in his home life, and working through that with him has been a learning opportunity for both of us. And there are times where he just gets so angry and he wants to like hit his brother or hit me or just take it out on something. And I just started asking him, can I give you a hug? And then usually he's like, yeah. And I just put him in my arms and I just say, hey, it's going to be okay. Do you want to tell me how you're feeling? Talk to me. You're safe, right? Because being in my arms, I'm his mother, is providing that safe space. And I want to teach him that that's something he'll always have with him is that safe space. But
Mhm.
it starts by creating it like this. I'm creating the proof for him. And I think many of us didn't have that, not because our parents didn't want to give that to us, but because they didn't have that. And their parents didn't have that. And their parents before them didn't have that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, how it often turns out, or often, sometimes turns out, is that when feelings get too deep, they get like the feeling of pulling away. Because feeling it would be too much responsibility, you know? And people react differently. So, of course, if there's too deep conversations, feelings, whatever, someone will react with anger, someone will react with avoidance, and walk around it. That's in my case, that's what's happening. They end up staying in, I have to choose my words carefully here, a stagnant situation, because of fear of collapse. Because if that collapses, that's so many deep feelings and how you're not supposed to feel, right?
Mhm.
So if we look at the unhealed masculine version, where there's someone being very stagnant in their feelings, this is why feminines encounter that, because we are givers and we're giving it. We want to just use all our feelings and our intuition and like, okay, I see you. I see everything you're feeling. Can't you just go ahead and feel it? Please go ahead. And we talk about this because both the masculine and the feminine version goes through a transformation, right? And we talked about the butterfly. Did you say something? Was that before? That was before we started recording. Okay. Do you want to do that? Because it's very interesting how the butterfly becomes a butterfly.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, I do I want to share that tidbit? Okay. Uh so I think that divine feminines go through four different transformations. I haven't finished dissecting. It's really interesting that I chose that word, but I haven't finished studying which one happens when. But I think that dragonflies, frogs, butterflies, and phoenixes are related to the divine feminine journey. And I think butterflies and phoenixes are the last two. I think phoenix is the very last one, but I also think there's phases and stages where like you're in a phoenix stage and you're in a butterfly stage and you're in a tadpole to frog stage and right there's different anyway. What happens with a butterfly? How does a butterfly become a butterfly? For those of you that don't know, butterflies are born from caterpillars. Thank you, fuzzy wuzzy little caterpillars. We love you so much. Hearts to caterpillars. I used to catch monarch caterpillars as a little girl. I just remembered they're black, but they have one little section in the middle that's orange. They're beautiful. Anyway, what happens is these caterpillars eat, right? Like a very hungry caterpillar. They go find a nice juicy leaf and they eat and they eat and they eat. I'm thinking of the very hungry caterpillar. Uh, and then they form their chrysalis, which is the cocoon, right? All around them. It completely encapsulates them and they go into complete darkness. And when they're in this stage of complete darkness, they literally turn to goo. Their body dissolves and disintegrates into goo, which I can't imagine is not like, I'm sure it's painful, but it's caterpillars also, so they probably don't have pain receptors. Like, let's be honest.
Mm.
Or maybe not pain receptors, but conscious thought. I don't know. But they go in this darkness and they become this puddle of goo in this thing, and their body starts transforming and metamorphosizing. And then before you know it, they start turning into the butterfly, and these wings start growing. And when they are ready, when that goo has become less gooey and their body has transformed, then they start to come out of the chrysalis. And when they do come out of the chrysalis, they actually hang on for a few days. Well, I don't know the exact timing of how long they hang on, but they hold on to the cocoon. And in the spiritual world, we like to believe it's because they've never flown before. They don't know what they have. They've never been this version of themselves before. And they have to learn to trust themselves. And so you see over time, they start to flutter their wings as they've hardened. They have to wait, though, for all of that goo to dry and to go away because their wings are not solid until they've dried. They're also
Mm.
very fragile and very delicate. And so patience, that waiting until they're ready to fly is super important. And so then finally, they start testing their wings and then they fly. And can you imagine how scary that first time you let go of your cocoon is?
Mm.
I like, I can't imagine how terrifying that like it's literally you're standing on the edge of the cliff and you have to jump. So I just ranted for like 3 minutes about butterflies. That was fun.
I think it's interesting that you call the dragonfly part of the divine feminine journey because I've always seen the dragonfly as part of the masculine journey. But as you said, though, masculinity is also part of what we're learning to be. So yeah, I know we're in sync today. But it just got me thinking when you said like I think the two last stages, and I was like, but yeah, I don't think it's like you can draw it on a timeline and say, okay, I'm
Mm-mm.
here because it will jump back and forth. But that was just interesting. It was just an insight.
Hmm. It's thoughts. I honestly haven't even shared those thoughts with Lisa. That was all internal thoughts that I felt fresh to share right now in this moment. That my Discord server that I am building has one little section. So I'm sure she's seen those things before, but she never knew like what those thoughts were. So it was fun to get to share those. So I want to take this back because at the very beginning we talked about self-sabotaging
Hmm.
and what we do when we're unhealed. Like, let's be honest with it, when we feel like we are not deserving, because I feel like there are kind of two things that happen. Well, maybe three. We'll see. There are at least two things that happen, right? The first is some people, when they feel unworthy, they bail and they're just like, nope, I'm not worthy of love. I'm checking out of any connection that has to do with love, shut down, right? There are some of us that feel like there are three things. There are some of us that feel like we have to earn that love. And so we give and 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 we give. And I do think that second one has like a subsection where the martyrs come in and they feel like not only do they have to earn it, but they can never earn it. And they have to sacrifice themselves to make sure that everyone around them feels the love that they've never felt. What?
I felt like you were pointing at me.
No, no, I love you
Yeah,
so much. I'm so
that's
sorry.
definitely me. That's definitely me. Hello from the girl just flying to another country just to watch someone do something for themselves, just to be there for them. Yes, that's me. Yep.
But you got something out of that too.
I did for sure, but I can't. I mean, he couldn't show up for me equally, right? So
Right.
I got something out of it. as a lesson, or not as a lesson, but there was a lesson for me there. There was a catalyst for me there, even that doing it was overgiving. Does that make sense?
Mhm. And I think
Mm-hmm.
there are people, so where I was going with that last subsection is there are people that will take overgiving to the extreme and you allow yourself to receive some at least. You feel like once you have earned, I'm not meaning to sound like I'm putting words in your mouth. What I have observed is that if you feel like you have earned it, then you're like, okay, I can take some love. Not too much though, but some. And I think that there are some people that truly believe that their sole purpose is just to make the lives of the people that they love and that they're around better, and that's it. And so they will do anything they can to make those people in their life happy
Mm-hmm.
and to make sure that they're happy and that they feel good inside, even if inside they're feeling dark and scared and alone and whatever they tell themselves, like, it's not about you, so just suck it up.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to know if you are any of those three, it's not true. You do deserve love simply because you exist. That's it. Like, not your
Yeah, and
credit.
also it is about you, because if you are a divine feminine, it is actually about you and your growth and you becoming, I wanted to say, a better version of yourself, but it was the wrong wording. I wanted to find something else, but that was what popped into my head. My intuition said that. So I guess that's it.
You,
You got emotional, Jess. What's going on?
I do. I just, every single person is worthy of love. Every single person. And I think right now we are in such a hard time where there's a lot of hate and a lot of separation and a lot of fear. And I just want to remind you guys that, like, when my son is angry, hugging him is what makes the difference. Loving him
Mhm.
is what makes the difference. And that does not mean, do not hear what I'm saying. Lisa, now I'm pointing at you. Do not hear what I'm not saying. That does not mean that when somebody is hurting, you drop everything to go hug them. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, what if instead of just assuming that somebody who is hurting is just trying to hurt, we step back and we say, wow, I bet they need a hug.
Mm.
If we started just showing up for people just by like stepping back and saying that, what difference could we make in people's lives?
Reminded me of something you said, and I think it was the first podcast
Ooh.
that we were talking about narcissism, and you said something about accepting breadcrumbs, and that just got to me when you were talking about this. That um, don't accept breadcrumbs. You deserve full love, and you got to remember that.
Every single person does, right? You deserve the whole 7 course meal plus 3 course dessert plus dessert bar, right?
Mm,
Like you deserve all out for every single meal,
mhm.
every single meal.
And I just think that we now have a topic for our next podcast, because we're not going to be able to hold on to this, because there is a huge but here. And the but I'm talking about is, um, there will be a pause. If you found your twin flame, there will be a pause. And we're not going to talk about that today. Um, but deserving full love, intuition, and journey can be really tough. And I'm feeling like this is another podcast, but I just wanted to out it there that if you are in a no contact situation, which I'm getting that some of you are, please love yourself because that is you deserve love, but firstly from yourself. So let's just keep it at that in this topic, and we can talk about the other stuff later.
I do want to talk about the thing that you and I were talking about a little bit, and I need your help finding the words, but I also have to be very careful with the words that I use. So hopefully the brain waves are coming across to you. And it was when I said about what I said about wanting to help people who wanted to be helped.
Yes.
I think it came to me. I think it came to me. And so I'm a healer, and I'm not sure exactly to what extent I heal, but I know that I heal and I know that I have healing capabilities. And I said that I've finally gotten to the level that I am only healing those who want to be healed. And I have stopped chasing after the ones that I know need healing and I want to save, right? And I think that's an important part in this journey, no matter if you're divine, feminine, masculine, or not, in anybody's emotional journey, is when you step back and you stop pouring into somebody that doesn't want to be helped, right? You step into your power and you really, that is when you know that you love yourself because you say, my energy and my time is not worth it. And it's not meaning that you're not worth it, but it means that I need to invest my time where it is
Mhm.
worthy.
It's very important to set boundaries and learn to set boundaries because in an overgiving situation, I've lived like 34 years of my life being an overgiver. And the lesson of choosing not to give more than you receive, that has been really tough on me, and I'm still working on it. I'm actually still, I think I'm in the goose state of that caterpillar. Because I feel like the caterpillar doesn't really know yet, because the caterpillar doesn't know it will become a butterfly, right? So I think, in my perspective, if we go back to that, that that's before you realize you're a divine feminine, and then you go ahead and you eat, and at some point you figure it out and you learn lessons, and then you level up to like cocoon. And I think I'm goo right now. Not gonna lie, I'm so gooey.
She's goo, guys.
um,
I promise you, she's goo.
that is so true. But the point is awakening, right? And learning lessons and leveling up.
I want to
That's
ask you
what it.
something.
Okay.
Is it important to set boundaries, or is it important to maintain the boundaries that you set?
I told you I'm still learning this lesson.
You know what that
Uh,
tells me? Your answer right there screamed high priestess. You know the answer. You know it. You know the
that is
answer
so
to the
true.
question.
I do know. I do know.
Let me tell you
I do
guys,
know.
I have spent almost 2 years enforcing boundaries that I have set, and I still struggle with it.
Yeah.
It is very challenging. I did pull an affirmation card because that's the thing that we do. And of course, as usual, it fits. When I accept myself as I am better able to grow into who I am made to be. When
Okay.
I accept I have goosebumps. When I accept myself
I
as
need to read
I am
this one.
better able to grow into who I am able to be, who I am made to be.
And I just need that. I have to read what was said for the snake. I don't have to. It's affirmations. I can read the affirmations. I welcome new experiences and lessons that contribute to my growth. I am constantly evolving and expanding into the best version of myself. I'm worthy of growth, and I am capable of achieving my full potential. So that was the snake card. Affirmations from that card.
Uh, Anybody see a theme there?
I don't know, maybe a little.
Any? Just saying like change and transformation.
Hmm. Hmm.
Maybe. Maybe. With that, guys, I think that's a great place to stop. What do you think, Lisa?
Well, I have goosebumps now, and that's not really my affirmation. So I mean, now we're one, so we can just keep talking for me. But I think we have a very good episode here where hopefully we got to reach out to a lot of people who needed some messages or
I would
affirmations
love
or reflections. Yes.
Yeah, I would love to see in the comments, like if you are working on something, if you have something that you are trying to heal, or if you have an affirmation that you want to claim and speak into fruition, drop it in the comments. Anything. Like I check the comments, and if I see any, I will share them with Lisa. I don't know. I think you subscribe to the show. Anyway, I definitely would love to see those. We would love to hear about your journey and your experiences and how your life is being affected, and know that you aren't alone. This journey is hard, as Lisa said, but you're not alone in it. And so if you want to share, if you feel comfortable sharing, definitely do. If you want, mm,
Yes.
if you want me to connect with you and you don't feel comfortable sharing it in the comments, drop a comment saying reach out, and I will probably give you my email or something. We'll figure that out. I don't know yet, but I'm happy to connect with you guys because you're not alone. Okay.
And also, guys, I just want to a little bit of commercial here. Jess is doing readings for you guys, so you should definitely just go ahead. I have started my own channel too, but that's in Norwegian, so for most of you, that won't really do anything.
You know what? We will drop. I will make sure to link it in the podcast for you guys that do speak Norwegian, because I don't speak Norwegian. Maybe I should start. Hello.
Hello, yay! There you go.
But we will link it in the comments for you guys that want to support Lisa as well. So with that, thank you guys for joining on another episode, and we will see you guys next time. Before I let you go though, I have one important message. You are so incredibly loved, and you can do big, hard, scary things because you are big, strong, and brave. Stay wild, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Love you.
Love you. Bye.